Now it's a Dilbert sketch.
Yeah.
Like, you know, people call me a fucking boomer. Dilbert was a fucking comic for all you kids out there that was about corporate life in the 1990s.
Yeah.
Right? Like his references are so weird. His late night talk show references that nobody watches. Not even adult.
Do you think he might be older than he puts on or something?
I do wonder that sometimes. Like, you're lying right now. You know exactly what you're doing, and here's how you're doing it.
Yeah, like he was breaking COVID news back in like 2020, like when people were partying shit. Yeah, he was breaking that news on the Twitter. Like he was, like he was being a journalist.
Yeah. So I suppose, and then although there's no such thing as journalism, but
well, my point is he was being serious. He wasn't being a character.
Sure.
He wasn't being Dilbert.
Yeah, but then he'll just say you don't understand, and he'll say, well, that's important for this, and then now it's a Dilbert sketch.
Yeah.
Like, you know, people call me a boomer. Dilbert was a comic for all you kids out there that was about corporate life in the 1990s.
Yeah.
Right? Like his references are so weird. His late night talk show references that nobody watches. Not even adult.
Do you think he might be older than he puts on or something?
I do wonder that sometime.
Because he does make the weird,
that he grew the hair out. You know why? Because I think he might dye his hair. Right?
Yeah.
You know, he dyes his hair. I think he dyes his hair a little black. Right? I think he's a little gray like me, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's in the mid to late 30s. Yeah.
Like my age, maybe.
Because all his references are bizarre. And I'm older than him. I'm probably at least 10 years older than him. Right? But it's just bizarre.
That's my point.
Or he's just a cornball, you know? I mean, that's possible too. And he's about 28 to 31, you know?
He's 27 right now. He's 27 on his birthday.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, he lies about everything. Would he lie about being 35? You know, and that, I tell you something else too. There's a picture of him when he's younger, right? And I was thinking this the other way. I'm glad you brought that up. I was thinking about it. It's so bizarre. Everything's a lie. Everything's bullshit. There's a picture. Good looking guy. All right, look at this right here. Look at his hair. Right, it's more my color. It's more my color hair. Look at this hair. It's jet black.
Yeah.
And you guys, is there pictures of me like?
There's a military picture.
Here, hold on. No, from Baited though, the Baited area when I was like 39. All right, I'll give you an example. All right, perfect. I'm 39 here in this picture right here. I'm 39.
Yeah.
Like, it's a much younger guy, right? So my point is, some people that age into late 30s, they could still look like they're in their 20s well into their 30s. Some people do. Some guys look like they're in their 30s and their mid-20s. It's just, sometimes it's just the way DNA works out. They're not necessarily bad looking, you know? Hell, I'm in my mid-30s in this picture. Yeah, I do. I wonder if I would not be a bit surprised if he was 39 or maybe even 40.
Really? So you think 40?
No, I probably at most 38.
I was thinking 34.
But if you told me he was 40 or 39 and like he was lying all along, yes. Because I mean, look at that picture of him where he's clearly younger.
Yeah.
He has the same color brown hair that I have.
Yeah.
More evidence that he's European. He has the same, you know, and this is like a more recent picture. Yeah, he definitely. For sure. Yeah, he could be a lot older than he is. Look at this. He's a much younger man. Good looking guy, by the way. Yeah. Then he grows his hair real long and does this thing. Oh wow! Look, I wrote deaf Noodles and ethnicity popped like 3.
White.
White. In my video.
He's white.
I can't believe you made me say that. Retirement. Okay, what you just saw was from the stream last night, but it really got us thinking. I had several fans come to me even afterwards and said, boy, that is a little bit weird with the age thing. And considering that, you know, Mr. Dennis Vitosa doesn't seem to be the most credible or trustworthy persons, we decided to go back and talk to the experts. We have a first-generation American, but originally from Brazil. Jashué, how are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty good, you know, just all things considered.
And then last time we had Cory come on. He's you're down in Rio, right? Correct?
No, I'm down in São Paulo.
Oh, you're in São Paulo as well, so that's good.
Yes.
He says he's from Mr. Fatosa says he's from São Paulo. Okay, I'm gonna play this video. You guys will be able to see it on screen right here.
Foi tipo só a gente só tava brincando, tá ligado, em casa. E aí eu continuei criando vídeo e eventualmente no meu colégio em São Paulo eu acabei criando vídeo dentro do colégio com os amigos. Aí eu fiz alguns anos de faculdade de cinema, depois transferi para cá, para Flórida, onde eu terminei faculdade em publicidade e inglês. Depois, o dia depois que eu me formei na faculdade, eu me mudei para Nova York, eu e minha namorada na época, que hoje é minha esposa. Eu tô morando aqui em Nova York vão ser 7 anos em dezembro.
Caraca, um mês depois da faculdade?
Um dia.
Um dia depois da cerimônia de graduação.
Eu cresci em São Paulo e eu queria uma cidade que fosse igual São Paulo aqui, tá ligado? E Nova York, eu vim para Nova York em abril daquele ano, em 2009.
Okay, so where is this video from? I'm assuming it's around 2016. If it said 7 years, if he left in 2009, I think it would be recorded in 2016. Was this on YouTube? Where'd you guys acquire this video?
Yes, it's on YouTube.
This current video is on YouTube. It's an excerpt from YouTube.
Yes.
So that's interesting. So I just need both you guys to co-sign on this. If I'm wrong, the way I understand it is he went to some kind of film school in Brazil, transferred to Florida, and then ended up going to college in New York. Is that correct? Or maybe an advertising school in Florida, and then he ended up in New York? And April of that year of 2009. Is that what he's saying?
Yeah, he graduated in Florida and then moved to New York the day after.
So did he move to New York in 2009, or did he get to the United States? So that means
he moved to New York.
All right,
he moved to New York
in 2009. So he came from Florida. So he went to advertising school. So I'd imagine that would be a minimum 2 years, correct? I mean that's a guess. Maybe it's a full 4. But he did also said he went to school in São Paulo or in Brazil. Is that correct as well?
Correct.
What is the average age? I know this is kind of subjective in the States because everybody thinks they're getting out of college at 21, 20, 22. Usually it's 22, 23. How does that work in Brazil? Do most people get out at a certain time? You don't have to graduate 4 years on the dot. I'm sure that's the same thing. So what average age would he be getting out of school and be able to move to New York?
Around 22 to 23 years old.
So there's something that's not really driving with me. And considering that Mr. Noodles doesn't have the best reputation for being on the up and up, is it fair to say, let's give him the benefit of the doubt, let's say he was 23 in 2009, so 2019 he would be 33. And that means he's 34, 35. And that's if he didn't spend a couple years in Florida. This would put him in his mid-30s. He says that he's 27. Is that correct?
He says he's 27 years old.
He says he's 27 years old. Yeah. Do you guys find it strange? You might. I
Which
know.
would have made him, if he's 27 years old, that would have made him 14 in 2009.
If he's 20,
that's weird.
Yeah, that's okay. That's pretty weird. Have you noticed? Here's another thing, and this is subjective on my part. I mean, I don't speak my second language very well, but I am around. Both my children are bilingual. How is his Portuguese? Because he's doing a lot of the things that I do when I'm thinking in English and trying to translate it to German. Does he sound like a natural speaker in Portuguese, or is there a little bit of an effort there, or are you seeing anything, or he's just fine? Go, Cory, you first. Then we'll get the first general.
Okay, no, he speaks fluently, perfect.
Fluent, and you would agree with that? You would agree with that as well?
I have to agree with that as well. But like the type of Portuguese, it sounds like he's from the city, and I was just like, is this guy from São Paulo?
Yeah.
And I was just, and then based on my intuition, I was just like, okay, this guy sounds like a São Paulo guy.
Yeah. That's sort of. I went to the army with a guy. That I think he was from São Paulo too, and he said that was the more affluent area. Like Rio's kind of the tough town. São Paulo is a little more middle class. Is that correct?
Correct.
That is correct. Okay.
He seems like a Paulista to me.
Paulista to you. Okay. 100% approve that. I just wanted to check in that just to see if I was crazy. All right. How old do you think he is? Do you think he's just, here's the thing. This guy makes up so many stories. He twists things so much. Is it possible he's blowing smoke up this guy's butt too? Are you getting any kind of weird vibes from this? Do you know anything more about this particular interview that you can give me some insight on?
No, I think this is it. From this interview, I think that this is the biggest clip you can get.
This is the biggest clip. So there's a real problem here, Matt. So if he's 27, he mean 14 in 2009. So he didn't travel to the United States with his girlfriend. I also find it weird that his father is was it Disney? Or was he a Disney?
Warner Brothers?
Warner Zach.
Yeah, and they said he was from Morristown, New Jersey, which I grew up near, and that is a very affluent area. Extremely affluent. Like, AT&T bigwigs there. It became Verizon. That's, that we're talking like serious money in that area.
Well, I mean, I'm looking at some of the stuff that Cory timestamped from because they both watched the whole interview, looked through it. At one point, he mentions Total Request Live, a old '90s show.
I remember that. TRL.
Yeah, that's maybe a 27-year-old would remember that show fondly, but I remember I was like in 5th grade when that show was on.
And you are 30 what?
I'm 33 years old. So
Total Request Live, that's my gen. I was like 20, 21. I'm 45.
Yeah.
And that was the big thing in my early 20s. Like, you'd have Limp Bizkit on there. You'd have Britney Spears. What was her competition? Britney Spears.
Christina Aguilera.
Eminem. When they were in their absolute, their prime, when it was just first kicking off. And I just noticed he makes so many cultural references that are not of his time frame, especially not only the Dilbert one is completely bizarre because that was aimed at quite literally boomers that were in the corporate world, and I find it weird that he likes Dilbert because Scott Adams is such a Trump guy and he's such an anti-Trump guy. He's of course the writer of Dilbert, which is completely bizarre.
Yeah, so when you mention about the cultural references and what have you, well, like in Brazil, television shows still rerun older.
So that's a point for him.
Yeah, just to be fair, they still play Looney Tunes over there, and also even obscure Japanese shows.
Gotcha.
That are still playing over there.
So, that's funny. In fairness to them, they used to. If you ever seen the movie Euro Trip, when they get to Eastern Europe and everything's 20 years behind.
In the 80s, yeah.
They're like the early. I love the Dukes of Hazzard, and it's it's like the late 90s. It's like the late 90s. Yeah.
Well, I always kind of thought maybe he was a guy that just watched old television as a kid,
it's
stuff
just
like that.
cornball. Just a corny guy into corny stuff,
Yeah, our co-host AC is like that, and he's around, mid-20s.
Do you guys know who Johnny Carson is? You guys, I assume both you guys are young guys.
Oh, I'm in my mid-20s now. Yeah,
yeah, me too.
You guys know who Johnny Carson is?
Johnny Carson.
Okay, well, I was wondering.
No.
David Letterman.
David Letterman. Yes.
You do know that David Letterman.
I think I know who he is.
Okay, you think you know who he is? Well, that'll be closer too. What other guys does he reference? You guys know who Jimmy Fallon is.
Colbert,
Jimmy Fallon.
Reference. Yeah.
That's all last 10 years though.
Yeah.
Okay. So, was there anything else you think that's important? So we got one major point against him, and the other stuff that I would say it could be consistent with. Sometimes shows become I guess the equivalent would be The Office. The Office got popular in the States with a different cast, but it was the same concept that came from England that was called The Office. So maybe it's just stuff's like takes a long time for it to get translated, you know, or something like that. Is that correct?
No, they just keep replaying the same shows. Since I was a kid, you just turn on the TV and it's the same thing.
Okay.
Yep.
So
It's the same thing. Yeah, I can co-sign that. Like, I even remember watching like cowboy movies from like the 60s, 70s in the States, but it was translated in Portuguese.
Okay. So this is really a point for him. There's all sorts of American culture he could have been exposed to in Portuguese, in Brazil, of all time frames of all generations. So he could just have ran the gambit with all sorts of different shows and stuff like that. So it's just, you know, just because something's current in the States doesn't mean it's current in Brazil. Is that correct?
Oh yeah.
Right.
My last question to you guys is, why is Brazil terrible at soccer now? What happened to them?
I knew the Germans were going to say it.
What happened?
Of course.
What happened? What happened? What happened? Why did you let the Germans beat you so bad?
I blame the coach. To be honest, like the coach was like, "Hey, let me just bring in a bunch of young people over," which is a risky move. And then like Ronaldinho at that time was on his way to punch out. Yeah, and same with the other guys. Like
the youngest
Kaká.
guy was like Kaká, right?
Yeah, and they were like, hey, you know, this is gonna be our last year, you know. Yeah. And then the coach is like, nah, we're gonna put some young guys like Neymar.
Yeah, he was young.
And
yeah.
I have a feeling it's gonna, that legacy is, I'm been blackpilled by this. I think it's over. They're gonna be like the soccer or football equivalent to the Dallas Cowboys.
No, I can't imagine a world like that. I can't
well, at least we have mixed martial arts. That's all I'm gonna say.
You can't answer that.
It can't be half glass empty. You know what I mean? Like,
let me ask you something real quick, and I'm gonna post this. I don't care because this is what I'm on a soccer kick right now. You just happen to catch me. I was always told, you know, the Europeans that they're a lot more disciplined in the sense the way they organize games, especially the Germans. You have real set formations. That's a lot looser in Brazil. They don't really I mean, obviously they have the midfielders and strikers and backs and stuff like that. But there's a little more. There's always, the great thing about Brazilian football is there was always a lot of there's always like a lot of, like, they give a lot of the guys the free reign. Are they making that mistake? Are they changing that and kind of Europeanizing it a little bit? You think that might have something to do with it?
No, I just think that we don't have talent anymore.
How did that happen?
It's just
people live with the soccer.
I don't know.
You're born with soccer balls.
Don't you
Play
guys come
with
out
bare
the womb
feet.
kicking a fucking football? Like, what's going on?
What happened? That's the one thing. The one thing.
PlayStation happened. Now kids just play PlayStation. They don't play soccer anymore.
Oh, yeah,
no, it's mostly PlayStation and what was it, TikTok.
Yeah.
And
so you put the ball away and you started punching each other.
You see, if you give them small, like 4-ounce gloves, you might see another Anderson Silva, but I don't know.
You know, how you think some of the culture changes we've seen in Europe and the United States have affected South America? Maybe.
Big time, really? Big time.
Because I think of South American men and it's just machismo all over the place. Forgive my Spanish, but that's always been, you know, the South Americans are kind of chest beaters. They're macho men. You know, but create kind of macho men with flair. Is that being kind of pushed out? Is there anything?
It's getting anglicized.
That's what I thought they were doing to the soccer. To be honest with you, that's what I was wondering.
Like it's getting anglicized, and I'm just like I freaking hate it. Even the American style politics, right? Goes down over there when the lore is completely different. Completely different. It just makes things worse, if anything.
Cory, do you agree with your American compatriot expat?
Yeah, 100%. They just see what everyone is doing and they try to do here.
That was the always great thing about Brazil. He just did it like Brazil, especially with football. You know, the Europeans didn't know what to do with you guys. Going back to Def Noodles, I'd rather talk about football, though. I'm about ready to go on vacation. So there's speech is fine. Definitely a São Paulo guy, but there's definitely some timeline problem here. If he's what he's saying is true, maybe he's lying about being older here. I don't know.
Yeah, it's all pretty much a possibility at this point. He could be lying. It could be like a miscommunication during the interview. Could be a lot of things, but it's definitely weird.
Do you want to revoke Mr. Def Noodles' Brazilian citizenship? If it was up to you, guys, what would you do?
Lying about his age, the most Brazilian thing he has ever done.
Yeah, lie about his. Oh man, that's giving me flashbacks to when I was a bouncer.
I mean, that's a thing in Brazil. Is that a thing in Brazil?
Is it really?
Is that the culture, lying about your age?
I mean, it's like everywhere, especially if you're in the city and you're being like in the clubs and stuff like that. Oh man, it's pretty easy.
I didn't know. I didn't know that was a thing. I wasn't sure. That's too funny though. I hate to say I've heard that before. Yeah.
I mean, I've heard of like lying about a kid's age so he can go play 12-year-old baseball.
Yeah, or get a
like
beer
that.
early or something. Not saying you're younger. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, and I have to say it's more like it's just a São Paulo stereotype right there.
Oh really?
Yeah, I mean, like there's a ton of Brazilian memes just egging on São Paulo. Like
São Paulo always takes a beating, though, right? They're kind of the rich, easy target, correct? Because they're the rich guys, right?
Yeah, because they're essentially getting carried by the Japanese over there.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm glad we got to talk about football. Do you guys? Last thing. I think it's more directed Cory, but Jashué, if you want to chime in, Cory, last time we talked, you said he has a pattern starting a channel, and then kind of dipping when things get hot. He has been in trouble in Portuguese YouTube, correct? In the past,
correct.
Okay. What do you see him doing in English YouTube? Like, what do you think he's planned? Do you think he'll do something similar, or do you think or maybe go back to Portuguese YouTube, or you think where do you think Def Noodles goes from here?
I think that if it's just enough for him, he will just wipe everything and just
start over.
Yeah.
Really? What do you think? I know you're not as familiar with that, Jashué, but do you think he might do that, or is it money too good, or where does Def go from here?
From here, I mean, like in the English speaking circles, right? Mm-hmm. He's pretty much done. On
he's
these
damaged.
parts.
I wouldn't say he's done, but he's definitely damaged. I think he has a habit of ticking off. There's always one group of people you're allowed to tick off, and you're allowed to tick off the group of people that your fans don't like to begin with, right? So you could do that. That's not a problem. But the problem is he'll tick off. You know, he's kind of embraced a left-wing, or pandered to a left-wing crowd. But he'll also, if they don't go along with whatever he's pitching or they question him, he'll go off on them as well. So I think he's burned every bridge on the island, is what's happened. And I think there's just a boat, no pun intended, my immigrant friends. There's only a boat left to get off the island from here. I don't know. All right, Jashué, I got your stuff. If you want to check Jashué out, he's got a YouTube channel. You could do MMA, correct?
Yeah. I'm an amateur kickboxer and a boxer, but I'm gonna try to dive into MMA. I also do some commentary videos, unboxings. You know, I'm just a guy who just floats around. I'm a mixed bag.
Yeah, you do like political commentary. You did videos on Vosh and stuff like that, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah, the Vosh one's actually my magnum opus. I actually, unironically, made that video when I was high, so it's pretty good.
All right, Cory. I know you're a little more a private person. You want us to put your Twitter out there?
Nope.
No, you're good.
Man,
I swear to God, you guys.
In Portuguese, so
You guys better be telling the truth. You better not be like goofing on me. Like, I hope you guys didn't get together. It's like, we're gonna make Tommy C look ridiculous. Yeah.
Well, no, I found both of these guys separate. They do not know each other.
They do not know each other. Okay.
I found that.
Nope.
Yeah. Okay. But guys, I really do appreciate you, Cory, for the second time. And Jashué, it's nice to meet you. I'm gonna definitely check out your stuff when I come back from vacation because I am out of here. But thanks so much, guys. You can take care.
All right, take it easy, man.
Take it easy, Cory.
Yep.
Peace.
Yep.